about a person by the people they hang out with, and the same is true for superheroes. And since Wonder Woman is pretty much the most well-adjusted, emotionally healthy superhero in all of DC, looking at you, Batman,
tell me that it's okay.
it's not surprising that unlike the other two in DC's Holy Trinity, she actually has functional relationships with multiple people. Here's everything you need to know about the people who make up Wonder Woman's inner circle. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree when it comes to Wonder Woman and her mom, Hippolyta. The Queen of the Amazons made her debut alongside her daughter in All-Star Comics #8 in 1941. Hippolyta's storyline gets a little confusing, to say the least. Golden Age Hippolyta mostly just stayed on Paradise Island ruling the Amazons. Once in a while, she got kidnapped, but other than that, she was pretty chill. In the 60s, DC introduced the multiverse. The Wonder Woman and mom Hippolyta that appeared in the comics that were published from the 60s to the 80s lived on a totally different Earth than the ones from the 40s and 50s. This modern blonde Hippolyta had her twin sister Nubia, who was black, because sure, why not? She also had an adoptive daughter named Donna Troy, who later became Wonder Girl. To be honest, Hippolyta hasn't always been treated the best in the comics. Originally, she was a loving mother who at times put her love for her daughter before everything else. But over the decades, she's had some pretty messed up storylines, the blonde hair really being the least of them. At times, she was portrayed as vengeful and somewhat controlling, like the time she got mad at Wonder Woman for proving herself to the Justice League after a bout of amnesia. Mommy Dearest decided to create her own test that involved resurrecting a dead Steve Trevor and having him attack Themyscira. She also erased Diana's memory and then erased the entire world's memories so an alternate dimension Steve Trevor could live in their current one. I mean, just take away her car keys. Alright, my favorite WTF fact about Wonder Woman's mom, though, is that in the 70s TV show with Linda Carter, Hippolyta was played by Carolyn Jones, aka Morticia from The Addams Family, and Cloris Leachman. Let it be on the record that DC made a huge mistake not letting her reprise the role in the upcoming movie. After DC's rebirth, Hippolyta seems to be restored to her best self. The curly black hair is back, and so is her peaceful disposition. She's ageless and immortal, possesses super strength, is an expert in hand-to-hand combat, and utilizes a number of magical artifacts that were gifts from the gods of Olympus, just like my mom. She is both Wonder Woman's mentor and, along with her sister Antiope, leader of the Amazons in Themyscira. When Antiope first appeared in Wonder Woman number 312 in 1984, she was a high-ranking Amazon, but not related to Hippolyta. In fact, she was trying to overthrow her as Queen of the Amazons. Post-Crisis Antiope, aka Antiope II, rebooted the character to be Hippolyta's sister and co-ruler of the Amazons. After a brutal attack on the Amazons by Hercules and Theseus, guys, Antiope wanted to ride after them and kill them. Hippolyta denounced the move, and Antiope surrendered her role and rode off with a group of Amazons, including her adopted daughter, Faya. When Antiope was killed by her new piece's jealous ex, Faya rounded up all of Antiope's Amazons and established the hidden city of Bana Migdal in the Egyptian desert. Strangely, there's no mention of a character named Faya in the Wonder Woman movie. But there is an Artemis who was initially created in 1994 and born a member of the Amazons of the Bana Migdal. As we've already learned, that doesn't necessarily mean anything in the world of comics. For all we know, the timeline and founding of Bana Migdal could have been altered for DC's movieverse, since Antiope and Artemis are seemingly both alive at the same time. What we do know is that Artemis is a certified badass, having even taken up the mantle as Wonder Woman after winning the contest when Hippolyta had visions of Diana's death when they were in the demon dimension. Honestly, don't ask. I told you things got weird, so there it is. It got weird. Like all Amazons, Artemis is ageless and has superhuman strength. But what sets her apart isn't just her advanced hand-to-hand combat and weapon skills. Artemis also knows some sorcery and is fluent in, wait for it, demon languages. Seriously, how does that even happen? Was it like an elective at your guys' high school to take demon speak? I don't know. She like the edgy kid who's like, I'm not gonna take Spanish, I'm gonna take demon. Come to think of it, I would be so into a spin-off comic of an angsty goth teen Artemis in high school. That'd be awesome. I mean, considering Artemis exists in the Wonder Woman movie, we can assume that epic battle scene in the trailers involves the Bana Migdal Amazons. What we don't know is why they're fighting. but odds are the German army found Paradise Island by following everyone's favorite manzel in distress, Steve Trevor.
United States Air Force Colonel Stephen Rockwell Trevor.
Ah, Steve. Imagine Steve Trevor being the first man you ever meet in your life.
I've never seen a man in the flesh before. Who of us have?
Okay, comic Steve is fine, I guess. He's somewhat competent at times, but this is someone who's supposed to be an intelligence officer in the army, and yet is constantly getting captured and kidnapped and just generally in all sorts of messes. But 70s TV Steve Trevor, played by Lyle Wagner, he is basically a human gag reel in uniform. He's so dumb. After a major reboot in 2011, Steve became a government agent and super spy and the US's liaison to the Justice League, eventually becoming a member himself in 2013. Steve and Diana have a flirty little relationship, and at times in their history, he was supposed to be her love interest, but the two mostly end up just being friends. Eventually, he ends up marrying Wonder Woman's bestie, Etta Candy, who also is one of the most underrated sidekicks in comic book history. Etta first appeared in Sensation Comics #2, 1942, and for most of the Golden Age accompanied Wonder Woman on her adventures. Etta was the original body-positive model long before IG was full of them. She was funny and brave, even helping Wonder Woman defeat Dr. Poison and fight Nazis. Unfortunately, some of Etta's reboots have made the mistake of ditching her full-figured roots and reimagining her as someone insecure and weight-conscious. Ugh. In the early 80s, writer Dan Mishkin and Mandy Newell started moving Etta back to her confident self, even having her take up the mantle of Wonder Woman in an issue. Etta's been portrayed as a secretary, an army officer, a woman of color, and eventually a commander in the army. But throughout it all, she's been Diana's closest friend, and the one person she's continuously been able to trust for decades. Here's hoping the movieverse friendship of Wonder Woman and Etta plays a sizable role in whatever adventures we see them in on screen. Guys, there's tons more supporting characters. Vanessa and Julia Capitelis, I Ching, Donna Troy, but we just went over the ones featured in the movie. Who's your favorite Wonder Woman supporting character? Let us know in the comments, and make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel.